Good evening, this is your captain speaking. First of all, an apology. It was only when I listened to my last video back that I suddenly realised just how incredibly boring my voice can be. So I apologise for that, and from now on I'm going to try and make things just a little bit more interesting. This episode, back working on the Tideway, this time repairing the jaws on the end of the gunter spar. But first, before we do that, just a very quick tour of the garden. This recent hot weather's actually brought it to life. So we've got some herbs, we've got some mint and some parsley growing there. Some pots with stuff I'm not quite sure what it is, some radishes, got peas and tomatoes, spring onions, and of course some lettuces, all looking good. And of course got the flowers out on the front as well. Lots of flies buzzing around tonight. Sudden bit of warm air brought them out, I reckon. But it's another beautiful evening on the river. So like I said before, the bronze jaws at the end of the spar were really quite badly bent. Now of course I had a go at straightening them, but inevitably they just snapped off straight away. So I had to go and source some more, and I found some gorgeous bronze castings. Unfortunately they came out at £140 a pop, so clearly not within my budget. But I thought I'd just drill out the bronze that was still stuffed up the end of the spar. I was quite surprised actually, it didn't go that far, but obviously it was stuck in there well. It certainly took some drilling to get it out. So my next option was to make some jaws. Now I had a bit of flat bar, just mild steel hanging around, so I started off bending it around a bit of an old gas pipe just to get a bit of the right shape, because obviously it has to swivel round the mast a bit, but it still needs to be fairly tight. So it was a question of just offering it up and doing a bit more bending just to get the right shape. So the next problem was how to actually mount it to the spar. I was thinking about making a small rod that would go back inside the spar where the old one used to be, but wasn't particularly happy with that. So my next thought was to get a couple of pieces of bar and put them either side of the spar and sort of sandwich it, but I wasn't very happy with that either. So finally I came up with the idea of welding the two pieces together, but bending them out to sort of a Y shape, so you get the compound of the angle of the actual jaws to the spar, and still get it in a nice sort of A-shaped joint, which should be fairly strong and fairly reasonable for me, who's not a particularly good welder, to get sorted. So once it was welded up, it sort of came out like this. Not too bad. Few voids, but I managed to fill them. I did have a bit of a boob actually, and blew a hole in the top of the jaw there, but I think I can fix that. It's certainly quite good because it enabled me to weld inside the little A as well to get it really nice and strong. Now I picked a 45-degree angle. I wasn't really sure what angle it should be, but I sort of thought, well, when the sails are up, the spar is at 90 degrees to the mast, and when the sails are down it's at 0 degrees to the mast. So I thought if I make it 45 degrees that should be about right. Certainly the old brass fitting was very little use because it was so bent out of shape. So the last little bit was just to put a fillet in the little triangle, just to really make sure that is lovely and strong, that joint. And that's what it came out like. Not too bad for a complete amateur, I didn't think, and it's certainly very, very strong. I even managed to fill my little burn hole a bit. Now fitting it in the spar, what I decided to do was actually take a grinder and grind a slot in the end, so that I could then lay the new jaws in, tape up all the seams, and then just fill the whole thing with thickened epoxy, and hopefully that will keep it in nice and tight. So after a bit of paint, it sort of looked like this. I wrapped some nice cord round it, try and give the mast a bit of protection, and then just slapped some varnish over the whole thing, just to try and keep it in place. Now I put a lovely bow shackle in the middle of the joint, thinking that would, really set it off. But unfortunately, in practice, the shackle gets in the way and it won't let the spar go at the right angle. So I just reverted to the original practice, where you just put a loop in the end of the halyard and just loop it around the bottom of the spar. Now these are the old original halyards that came with the boat, and to be honest, I'm not particularly happy with them. I'm going to change them. They're really, really thick and really, really stiff. I don't think they're very user friendly at all. And in actual fact, I had a real major job trying to get this halyard through the block at the top of the mast, simply because it was just so stiff and so hardened. And obviously you want it to get the spar as close to the mast as possible, to give almost the effect of one long spar rather than mast and a gaff. So I think new halyards are definitely the way to go on that. But all in all, I think it seems to be okay. Can't really see any reason why it shouldn't work. And as you can see how long that spar is as compared to the mast, that really does just double the length of the thing. So that's that job done. That's the spars done. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.